for a group of friends.
Why are you so worried about this party anyway?
I just want to make a good impression.
Come on. It'll be nice to catch up, reconnect.
A night of fun. Becomes a night of terror.
You kids be careful. There's a killer on the loose.
Night of the Axe.
Coming soon. All right, so there it is, the trailer for Night of the Axe, written and directed by Sean Wright, starring Lara Savannah, Casey Frick, Justin Sisk, and our very own Mr. Tony of the Dead. He makes an appearance. Also has Angel Bradford, Amanda Megan, and Sean Mongold in there, as well as Nate Nelson. And basically breaking down the cast, Lara Savannah plays Kat, Casey Frick as Lisa, Angel as Jess, Amanda Megan as Angela, Justin as Doug, Sean as Rob, and of course Nelson plays the Beast. The Beast. Doing the whole cross between Friday the 13th with the bag over the head and
Ghostface.
Ghostface had a ghost face.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that's what I mean. It's he's getting these bad kids for having a party.
The plot is a group of friends get together for a class reunion party and are systematically stalked by an escaped mental patient. So Sean is a local Maryland native and wrote and directed this movie. Went around asking people to review it and interview who would be interested in doing that. So, of course, we love to support our independent artists and directors, and we've known Tony for a while. So
I didn't even realize Tony was in it, and then
well, I suspected at first I didn't know, but then I suspected it when he kept pushing and pushing. So I was like, something's amiss.
There's something. There's got to be
because he's not even listed in the credits at first. So. I think it wasn't until the end that you actually saw him listed in there. But, so he tagged us, and then we got in touch with Sean, who I'm going to try to set up an interview with before Neko leaves.
Hopefully. I'm leaving soon. It may not happen.
Well, I might try to get him next week if we can, so I'll talk to him.
Because he's local, which is cool. And even if he can't make it down here.
Well, I mean, I figured we'd do it video, but hell, if you wanted to come by and hang out with us at the tavern.
That's what I mean. Like, if
he's that close to us.
Yeah. Like we could a quick 20-minute drive to where he lives.
Yeah.
So, but what I was saying is, like, even if because it's Christmas and stuff, that's why I'm like, it might be hard to get him to come down here.
Well, it'd be hard too, because we don't have a second camera right now. So
we're going to have to work on that and do a split screen.
Because now we are pretty much YouTube. So we if you don't know, I did put the podcast audio back up while I'm working on it. At least on Podbean, it's still there. We will be doing podcasts here and there with the music part of it, but it's more sporadic. But everything is going to be mainly concentrated here on YouTube. But to get back to the movie here, certainly you got a certain budget you're working with, so we're talking low budget stuff here, but independent film, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. The actors and actresses were really a lot of fun with. I think I have to say though, Angel Bradford, who plays Jess, like I think it kind of caught us off guard. She didn't mind going full nude in this.
No.
Like I was like, oh my God, we're going old school. I love this.
It was so
Grindhouse.
This movie was so like 80s. Like,
Oh yeah.
it was
Yeah.
such a nod to the 80s slasher movies. And my favorite thing, this is gonna, besides Tony's death scene, just, that's my favorite. I don't want Tony to think that wasn't my favorite. When
Spoiler alert.
Oh, well, everybody dies, just FYI. Everybody's dead. No, the neighbor,
Yeah.
when he
The
gets,
cop.
yeah, the retired cop, he's like just very sweet, and he's talking to these girls because he's their neighbor. And then at one point, he gets his face in a frying pan, and it's just there. Some of the effects are actually, like, the makeup effects and all are, like, really, really good.
Yeah, it started, like, early on, some of the death stuff you didn't really see. Like, even, like, the first person that was killed, when the wife comes out and looks in the trash can, at first he is like, okay. But then as it went along, they really started going out. Like you said, Tony, his moment of shining. There's a lot of great stuff in here. And
there's a lot of great death scene, lots of kills. There's
great cheesy dialogue, the way you love it.
The one with the arm, like, you just see, like, the arm, and then it was, like, up in the tree.
And I saw, like, a picture of Sean Mongold. He's the guy with the longer black hair. His normal look isn't like that, really. So he kind of caught me. I was like, yeah, he doesn't look the same dude. But it's cool because this is really kind of like, I know Sean Wright is a metalhead, and so I got a feeling like a lot of the people he got involved are rock and metal fans in general. So I think you and I were kind of talking about, I don't know who Sean or how he got his soundtrack involved, but I was like, Mr. Wright needs to talk to me because I can hook him up with some bands to do some future soundtrack work for him.
It's possible too,
Yeah.
because I know it's hard when you don't have the permission of the artist, or some of the some bands, like, especially when you're thinking huge, like Queen or something, to use their music, it's unattainable.
Right, but we have a lot of connections to a lot of the local metal and rock scenes. So,
and they're
usually they love to, hey, go. Because
Go ahead,
even
yeah.
our intro and outros are music by Nomos, friends of ours who are from DC. So obviously I'd love to help out artists. Like, I've talked with a couple of guys on Samurai's channel who were like, oh, so you might have access to metal bands and rock bands. Like, yeah, man, yeah, just let me know and I'll contact them. And because a lot of times these metal bands don't really want to charge. Like, they're just like, oh, I just want to get my music out there. And that's one way to do it. So
especially, like, some of the bands, they're so busy because, as you know, the music industry now, the way you make money is through playing and selling your merch. You get paid that way. Selling, like, CDs and stuff is like, and making a CD is kind of like a lower level thing. So a lot of times it's hard, though. I mean, Nomos, it's like every, like, a couple of years that they've been doing CDs because they've been so successful with touring.
But they now just had their full length debut out there, and it's doing very well. It's up in a lot of best of 2022 lists. So,
and I mean, I'm actually looking at, we have a set list from Nomos, and I think that's from 2019 maybe, or 2018. I can't see what the date is.
It's old enough. Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like a lot of their stuff that they've been doing is like smaller EPs. They don't really get, a lot of bands don't put they don't have the money to put toward putting a full album out. So for them, just having their music put somewhere to be heard and recognized is a big deal. So yeah, like, to all of our friends out there who might need the use of some music, we might have a few bands that we could put you in touch with that might be, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but they're pretty open to their music being shared, not in the sense of you're selling their music and making money off of it, but use it for something like this, like, so you can expose their music to the public.
But yeah, again, a lot of cool cheesy dialogue, which you expect from 80s films and horror flicks. And just, the characters are a lot of fun. They're having fun with it. You can tell they're having fun with it.
There's the metalheads that were in the tunnel.
Yeah.
While they're walking through the got the boombox. Like, I said to him, I was like, I really love this movie because it's just it's perfect. It takes like all the tropes. You have like you said, you've got the one full nude chick, because you always have to have a naked chick, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you've got the metalheads. You got a party going on. You've got like blood everywhere.
I have to say, like I said, I'm going back to Bradford because I've seen like her IMDb, and she's
Mhm.
done some other like horror films, and there's some cool stills. So I mean, she's probably one of the few out of that group I really like to sit and interview because I'm really interested about some of her other work. But I told you then when we were watching, like, man, it's not often you're going to see actresses do that. Like, you might have body doubles and stuff, but this is no body double.
Mhm.
She went all in, and it was a really great job. I mean, I know I'm going from a guy's point of view, but it's been a long time since I've seen a movie where an actress doesn't mind doing that anymore. Usually it's a lot more frowned upon now, even with horror. But kudos to her for brave enough to go down that road and do it. That's when you're all in on your trade, man. You're all in.
If I had a body like that, I'd go naked all the time. Honestly.
And of course, I think it was Justin Sisk who played Doug opposite of her in the hot tub scene. He's the one doing in the tray. He's going,
He's got the hair, and he's like,
come on. So yeah, you got a nice little cool sex scene in there, and of course, it leads to the deaths of both of them. And yeah, it's really well done. I mean, this was all coming off of a short done in 2019, apparently, which had a lot of high marks on IMDb.
Oh,
It's like
cool.
4 out of 5 stars just on the short, which I haven't watched, but I'm assuming it's all the basis for what turned into this full-fledged film. The film only runs for about an hour, which it's short, but it's to the point. And yeah, I really enjoy seeing Tony again. I think it's the first one we've seen him in. I know he's been in a couple other little films here and there. But it was nice seeing him in this. And I don't know how he and Sean hooked up initially, but we're definitely going to try to sit and talk with Sean and pick his brain about it a little bit, his thought process behind making it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear where is this, because to me, this felt like a 100% true homage to 80s slasher movies. That
Mhm.
it felt like a love letter to 80s slasher movies. It was funny and, campy and hokey and everything at the same time.
Yeah, see, they all look like they're having a blast. Just this was off of at least Justin Sisk's Twitter page at the time that they were filming. So a lot of fun, and it looks like a good group of people. So yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering, like you said, if we get to talk to Sean, maybe he could explain, like, what gave him the idea to do a movie. Because it's really hard when you're a director with ideas, but you have, your budget. You're not working for a movie, like you're not working for Paramount or Sony or a studio that gives you a huge budget, so you're by yourself.
Oh, I'm sure he had to like get all the money.
He probably
to do
did,
this.
and he probably had to,
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the actors, if all of them, probably did this for free, because it's all about building a resume.
Mhm.
And sometimes you don't get paid or get paid a lot to do this because there's just no money there to really do it. But in some cases, like Beautiful Prison, that we talked about in another video, there are people that get paid. I mean, it's not going to be millions of dollars, obviously, or thousands, but you do. This is your work if you're an actor or whatever, and so there is sometimes a certain amount of expectancy of having a paycheck.
I think too they were like reading through the credits and stuff. We had fun because Sean was listed like as everything. He was like busting his butt, you can tell, on this movie, because it's like, oh, mixer Sean, this editor Sean, and but what I saw that really kind of it was like costumes, and it said the cast, and it kind of reminded me back in my old days of working at theater. You do a lot of those things for free just because you like it. And some people are a little bit more serious. So in order to build that resume, they need to have some meat in it. So they do these smaller, things. But we used to do the same thing. Like when we would envision our costumes and then maybe go like to thrift store and figure things out. I do have to say the blood effects were very good. Like they had like the perfect dripping and squirting. I don't know how you do that, because like I know you can just buy like a gallon of fake blood or make it yourself, like with corn syrup and some dye, but to have it the right viscosity, am I saying that right? Okay, so viscosity,
yeah.
to have it the right like viscosity, and
Yeah, because the colors were very good. I mean, we talk about it all the time with like Suspiria, you know, when you look at the blood there, it's dated, it's not very realistic.
and it's like bright red. Like,
and then like around 78, a year later, when Savani did Dawn of the Dead, it started to change. You know, you started seeing the effects become better and better. American Werewolf in London, Howling, and all that stuff. And The Thing, it just became a lot more crazy, a lot more realistic. And so for Sean and them who did this film,
mixing up their own blood mix, and
to get that to look as good as it did is very impressive.
The one where the arm was cut off and then the stump, it was like, I was like, that is amazing.
In fact, it was one of the metalheads in the tunnel. Yeah.
That I don't even know why it was so funny. Probably because it was the metalhead, because he's like,
yeah. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
And guess what? There's an axe, and it's used a lot. If you honestly, like, some people are a little queasy about blood. The blood looks like blood, like, and there's blood dripping and stuff. I know. Don't just. It is, the effects are good, even though this is kind of like an 80s slasher movie. It still is taken very seriously with the effects and with the people. Like, everybody is having a good time. It's a party. Like, it's a party of young adults who haven't seen each other for a long time. So you do what you do at parties. You drink, you have some pot or whatever they're doing, you know, you're mixing it up, and then, but it was just perfect. Like,
and see, that's the thing, like, what I appreciate about movies like this, because, you know, people are going to get mad when I say this, but I enjoy stuff like this more than I did, say, Barbarian. And Barbarian has a higher budget, better just more experienced actors, you know, a lot more to work with than what Sean had with this in terms of time and money. But I find this, even though this is a little bit more straightforward, you know what's going to happen, you know how it's going to play out, it's just more fun. Like, I just feel like it's back to being fun. It's not trying to take itself too seriously.
Isn't that what's happening with horror movies, though, lately?
Yeah.
They're just getting to, like,
they feel like
serious.
Well, they feel like they have to, like, send a message with something. And it's like, this film doesn't do that. This film just pays homage to, you know, the old classic stuff of the 80s, and that's what I like. You know, whether I'm an old guy or not, it's like I've liked newer films, but it depends on what it is. But I just love the fact that this doesn't take itself too seriously. It's having fun. The actors and actresses are having fun. It's exactly what it's trying to be, and it's fun. It's, you know, that's all I can say about it. It's a really fun movie. And gets funny. Back to basics. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, they're all very funny. They're all funny, and they do their best in there, and that's great. So yeah, I'm trying to, like I said, I'm gonna try to set up an interview before Neko leaves to talk with Sean, because I think she would love to ask him some questions too.
I really appreciate when people follow their heart and they follow their dreams, and it's not an easy path when you're doing everything by yourself. Like, you can tell he was busting his ass on this. Like I was saying in the credits, it's like, you know, Sean. And I'm happy that he did it, even if that's all he's going to ever do is this, because it's not easy getting, we've talked to Joel many times. He works on movies, and, you know, he's at a little bit higher level, like he, you know, working with some independent studios, and he knows lots of people. It's not easy, especially we're in Maryland. Nothing really happens in Maryland. Like, it's not easy to just.
Well, you always got to start somewhere, you know.
And that's what I mean.
This year I've seen, like, guys like Master Chaos. He does his films too.
Hmm.
I did, I reviewed the Headless Horseman, which was a lot of fun. Then you have the Retaliators as well, which that's a little bit more quality there, but again, it's an independent film, so it's a lot of fun to see some of these up and coming writers and directors able to showcase their material. Because who knows, man? With Sean Wright, 5-10 years down the road, he might end up doing a blockbuster, and we'd be sitting here going, do you remember that
Do you
time?
remember Night of the Axe?
Yeah, so that's where people start sometimes.
You have to think these are, he probably only has 1 or 2 cameras because it's only one shot. It's not like doing multiple shots at the same time. It's whatever he can afford and whatever he can do with the editing process. And for me, that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of, he's probably trying dedication. He's figuring it out as he's going along. And he did it, and he put together the movie. And, I'm sure some of these people are friends too. You could tell just the way that they were acting in the movie. So it seemed like a group of friends getting together to do something, and they completed it. And it was just fun, funny, bloody. That's it. Fun, funny, and bloody. Fun, and bloody. That is the tagline. It's fun, funny, and bloody.
So we did catch a screener. So this is not yet released. I think it's coming out sometime next year, early next year, probably within the next month or two. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure, but we did get an opportunity to see the screener for it. So you cannot view this yet, but we highly recommend it to you all who are dedicated and big horror fans and love the old 80s stuff. So,
and we'll share that as soon as we find out when it's going to be released. We'll share like where you can download it or where you can watch it,
or maybe Sean will when we do the interview.
Okay,
he'll be able to tell us where it'll be
give
available.
Us more information. Yeah, write that down. That's a good question to ask him, like when it's going to be distributed, etc.
All right, all. Well, thank you for checking out this review. We will see you next time, and keep it fucking metal.
You see me for you.